Have you ever noticed how a woman's attitude shifts the moment she feels your absence? It's not just about the space you create, it's about what that space represents. When you step back, whether intentionally or unintentionally, a powerful dynamic is set in motion, one that makes her realize what she had with you wasn't ordinary. It's in your absence that she discovers the unique qualities you brought into her life, and suddenly, she can't stop thinking about you. Contrary to popular belief, making a woman miss you isn't about mind games or manipulation. It's about demonstrating your value and independence in a way that naturally draws her back to you. Women are deeply intuitive, and they're wired to notice shifts in attention and emotional availability. When you stop being overly accessible, you disrupt the comfort zone she's grown accustomed to. This disruption creates a gap, and in that gap, she begins to reflect on what she had with you. What drives her crazy isn't just the fact that you're not there, it's the realization that you brought something irreplaceable to her life. Maybe it was your confidence, your way of making her laugh, or the fact that you were the one person who truly saw her for who she is. Whatever it was, when it's gone, she starts to notice its absence more than she ever appreciated its presence. This shift is often sparked when you pull back your energy and redirect your focus toward yourself. By prioritizing your goals, passions, and growth, you inadvertently remind her why she was drawn to you in the first place. A woman misses a man who knows his worth and isn't afraid to walk away when his effort isn't reciprocated. She's left wondering, did I make a mistake? Have I lost something truly valuable? This isn't about playing hard to get or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding the psychological dynamics that create desire and appreciation. When she realizes you're not like the rest, and you're willing to step back when necessary, she can't help but crave your presence again. So, what exactly triggers this longing in her mind? Let's dive deeper into the moments that make a woman miss you like crazy. 1. Absence amplifies attraction. When someone experiences your absence, it triggers a natural psychological response that makes them reflect on your value. This phenomenon is rooted in how humans tend to appreciate things more when they're no longer readily available. Being present all the time can sometimes lead to familiarity that dulls appreciation, while a period of distance creates a gap for reflection and longing. For example, imagine a man named Mark who was in a relationship with Lisa. Mark was always attentive, always available, and always the one to initiate communication. Lisa enjoyed his presence, but over time, she started to take his efforts for granted. Mark realized this and decided to pull back, not out of spite, but to focus more on his career and personal growth. Without his constant messages and availability, Lisa began to notice the emptiness. She found herself checking her phone more often, wondering why Mark hadn't texted her yet. His absence created a void, and in that void, Lisa began to miss the little things Mark used to do for her. This same principle can be seen in friendships and even family relationships. Think about the last time a friend or family member moved away or became less available due to a busy schedule. The time you spent together felt more meaningful when it became less frequent. You might have found yourself reminiscing about past moments or eagerly anticipating the next interaction. This emotional reaction is a powerful reminder that absence has a way of amplifying the value we attach to others. Take another scenario. Alex and Sophie had been dating for several months, and Sophie felt confident Alex would always be there. One day, Alex stopped being as readily available, focusing instead on his hobbies and spending time with his friends. Initially, Sophie felt confused and even a little irritated. But as time passed, she began to reflect on how much she appreciated Alex's humor, his support, and the way he made her feel special. The lack of his constant presence made her realize how much he added to her life, sparking a renewed sense of attraction. This isn't about manipulation or intentionally withholding affection. It's about understanding that sometimes, stepping back allows others to see your true value. When you're too accessible, people may unconsciously start to take you for granted. But when you create a healthy distance, it gives them the chance to miss you, making them realize how much they cherish your presence. 2. The power of emotional voids. When someone creates an emotional void, it forces the other person to confront feelings they may have been avoiding or taking for granted. The truth is, People often don't value what's always readily available. The moment you step back, intentionally or not, you trigger a reaction. They start to feel the emptiness you leave behind, and it stirs emotions they didn't realize were there. This is where things get controversial. Emotional voids work because humans are naturally selfish. People often care more about how someone makes them feel than about the person themselves. When you're always present, they don't feel the need to reflect on what you bring to the table. It's just assumed you'll always be there. But when you create a gap, you disrupt their comfort. Suddenly, they have to sit with the discomfort of your absence, and it forces them to realize what they've lost. Think about a man named Tom, who was in a casual relationship with Jenna. Tom was always the one initiating plans and making Jenna feel special. Jenna enjoyed the attention, but never considered whether she truly valued Tom beyond what he gave her. One day, Tom stopped texting as much and started focusing on himself, hitting the gym, hanging out with friends, and living his life. Jenna felt the emotional void almost immediately. It wasn't love or even regret at first. It was discomfort. She wasn't used to not being the center of his world. That discomfort grew into curiosity, then longing. Before long, Jenna was the one reaching out to Tom, trying to fill the gap he'd left. Here's the kicker. Creating emotional voids works because it challenges the ego. When someone feels your absence, it's not just about missing your presence. It's about their bruised pride. They start asking themselves, why aren't they paying attention to me anymore? Am I not good enough? This ego-driven reaction often leads them to chase the very person they may have overlooked before. Of course, this approach isn't for everyone, and it can feel manipulative if done for the wrong reasons. But the truth is, stepping back and creating space isn't about playing games, it's about reclaiming your value. If someone truly cares about you, the emotional void you create will make them reflect on their feelings and prioritize you in a way they hadn't before. It's a bold move, but for many it works. 3. Confidence as a magnetic force. When you create an emotional void, it forces a woman to confront feelings she may not have acknowledged. Men often feel like they need to be constantly present, attentive, and available to keep her interested. But here's the hard truth. Women don't truly value what's always there. When you step back and stop pouring energy into her, she'll start to feel the weight of your absence, and that's when her emotions kick into overdrive. Take a relatable example. John was head over heels for his girlfriend, Emily. He texted her all day, planned dates every weekend, and made sure she always felt prioritized. At first, Emily seemed happy, but over time, her enthusiasm faded. She started responding later, canceling plans, and acting distant. John felt confused and even more desperate to win her attention. One day, frustrated and exhausted, he decided to stop trying so hard. He focused on his career, hit the gym regularly, and started hanging out with his friends again. At first, Emily didn't notice. But as the days went by and John's usual attention wasn't there, she began to feel uneasy. She started wondering why he wasn't texting her as much or asking her out. The emotional void he created made her realize how much she'd gotten used to his attention, and now she missed it. For men, this is often a game changer. It's not about manipulation, it's about understanding human nature. A woman's emotional response is heavily influenced by how much she feels valued and desired. But when you're too accessible, she stops noticing the effort you're putting in. By creating a gap, you disrupt the comfort she felt and make her reflect on what you brought to her life. Here's why it works. When a woman starts to feel that emotional void, it challenges her sense of security. She starts questioning why you're no longer giving her the same energy and attention. Is she losing you? Did she take you for granted?
These thoughts can spiral, and before long, she's the one reaching out to close the gap you created. This doesn't mean you should ignore her or play games. Instead, focus on building your life outside of her. Pursue your goals, spend time with your friends, and become the best version of yourself. When she sees you thriving without her constant validation, the emotional void will hit harder.
She'll realize what she had, and she'll want it back. 4. Scarcity increases value. Scarcity increases value, and this principle applies to relationships just as much as it does in sports. When something isn't always available, it becomes more desirable, and people start to see its true worth. For men, this concept can be compared to a star athlete and their impact on the team. Imagine a football team with a legendary quarterback, someone who's consistently performing at the top of their game. The team, the fans, and even the league might start to take his brilliance for granted because he's always there, delivering. But then, imagine that quarterback gets injured or decides to take a break. Suddenly the team struggles without him, the fans realize how much he brought to the game, and his absence makes everyone appreciate him more than they ever did when he was always on the field. Now, apply this to relationships. When you're constantly available to a woman, always texting back immediately, always agreeing to plans, and prioritizing her over everything else, she might start to take you for granted. You're like the quarterback who's always there. She assumes your effort is just part of the game. But the moment you step back, she begins to feel the scarcity of your presence, and it forces her to reevaluate your value in her life. Take someone like David, who was dating someone he adored. He was always the one making plans, calling, and ensuring she felt special. It wasn't that she didn't appreciate it, but over time, his constant availability started to feel routine. One day, David decided to shift his focus back to his hobbies and passions. He joined a local basketball league, started working on his side business, and spent more time with his friends. His attention became less predictable, and that's when she noticed the void. It's like when a star player returns after being benched for weeks. The energy shifts, and suddenly, everyone is reminded of just how much they missed having them around. David's girlfriend found herself thinking about him more, wondering why he wasn't present, and even making more effort to reach out. Scarcity doesn't mean being unavailable all the time. It means showing that your time and energy are valuable. Like the star athlete whose absence makes the team and fans appreciate him more, your scarcity allows a woman to realize your worth. When she sees you as someone who isn't always available, she'll value you far more than if you were always on the field. 5. The allure of self-prioritization. The allure of self-prioritization is undeniable, especially when it comes to how women perceive men. A man who puts himself first, focusing on his goals, passions, and personal growth, naturally commands respect and attention. It's not just about being confident. It's about showing that your life doesn't revolve around anyone else. This self-assured independence is magnetic because it sets you apart from the crowd. Women are attracted to men who have a purpose beyond the relationship. When you prioritize yourself, it sends a message. You're not desperate for her attention, and you don't need her to validate your worth. This creates an aura of strength and mystery, making her want to be part of your world. The truth is, women don't respect a man who sacrifices everything for them. They respect a man who knows his worth and isn't afraid to walk his own path. Take Mike, for example. He had been dating Jessica for a while, and she was used to him bending over backward to make her happy. He'd cancel his plans to spend time with her, always let her decide what they'd do, and made sure her needs came first. But over time, Jessica started to lose interest. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but Mike's constant availability and willingness to prioritize her over everything else made him seem less appealing. One day, Mike decided to make a change. He stopped dropping everything for Jessica and began focusing on his career and hitting the gym. He started pursuing hobbies he'd neglected, like photography and playing in his local soccer league. Jessica noticed the shift immediately. She started asking more questions about his day, showing more interest in his activities, and even trying to align her schedule with his. What changed? Mike's self-prioritization reignited her attraction. He showed her that his time was valuable and that he wasn't going to sacrifice his goals just to keep her interested. This shift made Jessica see Mike in a new light. He wasn't just a boyfriend, he was a man with purpose and ambition. By focusing on yourself, you become more than just another guy vying for attention. You become a man with a mission, someone she can respect and admire. The allure lies in showing her that you don't need her, and paradoxically, this is what makes her want you even more. Women crave the energy of a man who's driven, self-assured, and unapologetically focused on becoming the best version of himself. Here's the truth: a woman doesn't miss you for who you are. She misses how you made her feel when you were always there. The moment you stop being her emotional safety net and prioritize yourself, she starts to notice the void you leave behind. It's not about playing games, it's about recognizing your worth and stepping back to let her realize it too. But here's the real question: is this about love or just ego and power dynamics? Let me know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's get the conversation started. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.